And good day. This is the second day of the 17th annual ICT Summit. Thank you for joining us. My name is Sinazo January. And for today, our first guest goes by the name of Mr. Sotlekwa. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so you are from Sotlekwa Management.
Yes.
So tell us about Sotlekwa Management.
Okay. So, well, Sotlekwa Management is a company that I'm the founder and the CEO of. Founded the business just over 10 years ago now, in 2013. But that time really, as you know, with SMMEs, it takes time to get off the ground and so forth, yeah. So we're a business that started off as a project management company, providing services, a wide range of services under project management, where we establish project management offices, what they normally call PMOs, project management units for clients, both corporates and the public sector. And we also support them by being able to establish the requisite systems, tools and templates, advising them on choosing the correct methodologies and processes that they would use to manage their project environment. We've grown on now as a business to also offer strategy and advisory services, wherein we're able to then integrate, to use how do you integrate project management as a delivery support mechanism to deliver on a business strategy. And beginning of this year, we've gone quite extensively aggressive when it comes to the enterprise development space, where we actually use our expertise to support small, micro, medium enterprises, partnering with corporates, such as for example, the Richards Bay ITZ. We've partnered with the Spark Group, and we go on in leaps and bounds. And the whole idea is to say, how do we then package our respective expertise and support small businesses? Hence why you see that over time, we've really invested a lot of time in research activities. So if you ask who Sotlekwa Management is now, we offer project management services, advisory, enterprise development and research services.
Now we are at the ICT Summit. So let's talk a bit more about the contribution that the ICT has made in small businesses as well as your business as well.
Yeah. So look, I was earlier on the panel just narrating our story. So one of the things I can say is that without technology, there would not be a Sotlekwa Management that operates on a national scale and a continental scale, and soon to also operate on a global scale. For example, today's topic was around cloud, how cloud technology enables small, micro, medium enterprises. With our enterprise, for example, we are able to scale up. For instance, we run projects with different clients all over the country. We are able to share information and data and ensure that it's secured, remotely working. I mean, I've got project teams that have never even met each other. I've got employees that have never even said the only time they meet each other is during the Christmas parties and so forth. So, for example, now when we have our NDA function. So it allows us to be able to be that much more have a reach, but also it gives us an opportunity to be able to punch in markets that we would ordinarily not punch in. Because as a business, if we were still being able to really use conventional IT infrastructure services, would really probably be located in one place, because we cannot be able to afford the ICT infrastructure that your big enterprises would have, you know.
Now let's speak about the potential that small businesses do have in terms of ICT, you know, with all these skill and development initiatives that keep going on as well. Do you think that government should initiate more of these, and also to bridge the gap between the public and private sector?
Most definitely, I totally agree. I mean, the reality of the matter is that we will not have many people going forward, young as myself, who still aspire to work for people. They aspire to go into the entrepreneurial journey. And the entrepreneurial journey or the entrepreneurial world right now requires whatever type of business that you are in, there is a certain level of IT capability that you actually leverage on, because it allows you to scale up and scale down as the need requires. But also it gives you an opportunity to be agile and that much more efficient. So to me, I think government, much as there's been strides, I think there's a whole lot more that could still be done. particularly using, leveraging on what is already existing, the incubators that are there. How do you then able to ensure that those that have gone through incubation programs are able then to carry out what they've been able to learn outside? Because one of the things that you have is that whilst you are in an incubation program that gives you all of these solutions or platforms, the moment you are out, you are then hung out to try. There's nothing else to do, and then so I think linking up. So, for example, what we do, we try in the ED programs that we do, we try to link up the enterprises with existing or new markets that they can be able to leverage on going forward, so that the business can be sustainable enough and generate income to afford these digital technologies. Because at the end of the day, they cost money, much as they're much more cheaper than before, but they still quite cost a lot. And if you're running a small micro medium enterprise, it's not cheap, you know.
Can you imagine? Now let's speak about innovation, because I feel like that's the new normal now. That's the direction that we're heading at. But let's speak about the potential that there is for young people in these sectors as well as they keep growing. Is there enough space for young people to actually occupy these spaces?
I definitely think that there is. I just believe that it is not harnessed enough. We when I say we, I speak also of myself. At times we are guilty of not being able to inculcate enough innovation from young people and encourage them to be innovative. We're quick to, and we're accustomed to going back to what has worked for us. And even myself, sometimes as a business owner, I would be like, because I want to deliver results for the client. But I think there's definitely an opportunity. So just to comment in line what we do. So we are currently now in the process of finalizing a program that we're going to be launching with one of the SZs, which is a technology innovation program that actually supports young people, entrepreneurs from that district, which would be focusing from the time of being able to conceptualize the idea all the way through up until they would have a product ready for it to either to be investor ready or package it for them to be able to go out to the market. So definitely there is an opportunity. Even ourselves, we spend a lot of time now being able to do a lot of research and innovation in the different sectors. We've just done that with the oceans economy, where now we're looking at opportunities that can be created for small micro medium enterprises that are in marine manufacturing using digital technologies. So there's definitely always opportunities. I think we just need to be more curious as young people and be more eagerly to go out and really innovate, and not to be scared and rely too much on people giving us, but rather we become bold and so forth. So
Mr. Sotlika, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And enjoy the rest of the summit as well.
Thank you so much. It's been a great summit. I think for me, it's the first time I'm from the Eastern Cape, but it's the first time I've been actually having had time to make it to the summit because of competing priorities. So it's been a great summit so far, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And there you have it from Mr. Sotlika right here at the ICT Summit. But we still have more for you, so stay tuned. And welcome back from the ad break. If you are joining me right now, I'm with South Africa's former and longest serving statistician. He goes by the name of Dr. Pali. Thank you for joining me today.
No, thank you very much for the invitation.
Now, Doc, first of all, tell us what is the idea behind the Modeling Academy?
The Modeling Academy comes as a consequence of my observation in my work that information is not put to good use in our planning systems. The society is very complex. And it has many activities, and it interacts with nature, it interacts with itself, and it interacts with itself in the form of nations. And then suddenly there's something called international trade. Now, capturing that complexity is very, very important, and it cannot be captured by an eye observation. You have to have tools that follow the motions of laws of economics. And those tools should capture those motions that are not visible to the naked eye. And the idea, therefore, of having an economic modeling academy, EMA, arose. EMA in Sesotho and I think in Xhosa means stop. Okay. But EMA also means reflect. And therefore you stop and reflect. And modeling is about stopping and reflecting on the complexity of the system and how it should inform us as we move into the future.
Yeah. Now, how important is it to provide resources to the youth in remote areas?
Well, it's very important because not only to the youth, but to how the system becomes receptive to the requirements of the youth themselves and takes into account what the impacts could be if one path or the other path is taken. So ahead of time, which is the modeling is about tools of foresight. What are the impacts? What are the likely impacts? And how do you marshal your resources to achieve those goals? At the moment in the country, we just fly blind. I mean, there is no modeling in our system of economic system of what we call planning, absolutely none. And therefore, it's not worth, the plan is not worth the paper it's written on. And that's why all the time, repeatedly, we come with even worse results, with a lot more energy, a lot more input, without actually articulating and starting from impact. Amartya Sen talks about capability. And when you look at these models of capability, you start with the end in mind and then work backwards. And that's what every planner will tell you, and including our government will tell you that they're working backwards. But when you look at the tools, they don't enable you to work backwards.
Doc, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the summit.
Oh, it was great. I mean, the summit is absolutely fantastic. You know, it captures the spirit of what economic governance is about, where you find citizens amongst themselves as professionals coming with an idea and then defining how the system of politics can interact with them, because you cannot organize without politics. Politics are important because they define how we want to govern ourselves. Now, by taking that responsibility as citizens, those who volunteer to be at the helm then have to respond to how you have defined that horse. And I think this is a very good model.
Doc, thank you so much for taking the time for this interview. And there you have it right here at the 17th Annual ICT Summit. And if you were joining me right now, I'm joined by Tanda Hlobo, and she is also a Yoko ambassador. Let's first talk about that. Tanda, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. While you've done your research, I'm actually surprised. Yes, I was actually a Yoko ambassador, which we know is, the biggest tech company currently in South Africa that is providing online payments. So it's been an exciting journey. I'm so excited to have worked with them. And what I like about them is how they support small businesses.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about EDHE. So let's talk about how, they've managed to introduce entrepreneurship into, institutions. Is that growing? Is that working? How is that going? And how important is it for students who are young leaders?
It is growing, very much so. The exciting part is that not only EDHE introduced the program, but now we run competitions, of which we have also added categories. So last year, I think there were about 5. This year, there's about 7. And the entrepreneurs, or we call them rather student entrepreneurs, they walk away with money of which they can, use to grow their businesses. So it's a very exciting program, of which I think more and more universities should, go into and look into the program and see what EDHE can offer for the students.
Now let's talk about the opportunities that can actually come for students who are innovative and come up with amazing, brilliant ideas that can actually contribute into the IT sector as well. What do you think the importance is? And let's talk about how there's minimal space for them to actually occupy as well, because I don't think that the pool is as open for such students.
You know what? When it comes to innovation, I don't think we need to limit ourselves in terms of the pool.
Yes.
Because we are not just looking into building businesses that are based in South Africa.
Yeah.
We're looking into building businesses that will go far as, having an office in Dubai. So, and Dubai, I think, happens to be the biggest hub of technology.
Yes. Yeah.
So, it's not about not having the pool, but it's about integrating knowledge and practical, putting together that and then introducing that to the students. Otherwise, the challenges that students are facing right now, I think it's access to market. Because, there's a lot that is going on. One is trying to build a business, and on the other side, they're trying to study, obviously. So I think that is one of the challenges. Otherwise, the space is there.
Do you think that we need more initiatives such as the ICT sector? The ICT summit, to also just expose young leaders and entrepreneurs to the impossible, basically, with the networking going on in the summit. Let's talk about that.
I'm very excited of, what has come out of me attending the summit. I first attended the summit in 2017,
okay.
And that's how I got to learn about how I can grow my business using technology. I got access to, the biggest telecoms company through the summit, which I can't mention. So I think the best thing to do is, when you come to the summit, is you utilize the opportunity that has been presented to you.
Yeah.
If you are here to network and get contacts, do that. And one thing that we do is that we save numbers from people, but then we don't take the initiative of following up, and that's how we miss opportunities. So it's an exciting space to be in. I'm really excited. Each and every year, I look forward to attending.
Siyantana, thank you so much for taking the time for this interview.
Thank you so much for having me.
And there you have it. We're still, of course, right here at the East London ICC, and we still do have more for you, so do stay tuned. And if you are joining me right now, I'm joined by Jessie Willard, who is the founder of an NPO called Ganda Ganda Residence Forum. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, first of all, tell us about the NPO.
The NPO was founded 3 years ago by myself. It's called Ganda Ganda Residence Forum. It was named after one of the active custodians many years ago who made sure they kept the town Port St. John's clean.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was basically the one that made sure Port St. John stayed clean. He is passed on now, but we just honored him by keeping that name Ganda Ganda. Yeah, so what Ganda Ganda does, literally in Port St. John's, we look at problems in society and try and bring relevant solutions to those problems. The reason being, we can't depend too much on government, The private sectors are there, they are willing to help. It just needs that third person to go and look and to assist the community in things they're battling with. So that's what basically we do. We're not people that, we're not an organization that's focused on one thing. Most organizations, it's either they charity or ECDC or sport. Now, because of the problems in our society is so much, it's beyond. We can't just look at the one side and not look at the other, because there's less hands, you know. So we're focusing basically on everything. And our main people that we knock on doors to is the public sectors, and because government, if for funding or anything, they want you to focus on one thing. And unfortunately, our focus is on the community on the whole.
Now, tell me about the projects that you guys have or are running in Port St. John's.
Okay, there's quite a number. To start off with, we just started with second-hand clothing, where we put up on social medias on everywhere that whoever's got clothes they're not using on a certain side of their wardrobe, please drop by my door. And that is going off exceptionally well. So right through the year, we're having black bags coming, people dropping off, and we deliver to the rural areas, because we're focusing in the rural areas where nobody really reaches, you know. So we're on those dusty roads, that's where we are. And so we do the clothing, which people appreciate so much. And then food parcels as well. We also go and look at other NPOs that are better off than us financially and well connected, and they assist us at times, you know, and they give us food parcels, and we go to the rural areas. The other one that we do is the one that we do on Mandela Day. It's a major one as well. It's a medical outreach. So this was our second year doing the medical outreach. The first year we done it, we surprised ourselves. It was very successful. We had over 500 people. We had 12 young doctors who committed and dedicated the 2 days to us, you know, rendering their services for free to the poor in the community, in the rural areas, where they were screened, tested, given medication, transferred to hospital, change of medication, because some came, their eyes were already closing from sugar being so high and all that. So change of medication helped, you know, and yeah, so that's one of the major ones we're also doing. We've done it this year, and every time we do it on Mandela Day, giving back to the community and in the rural areas. We do not focus in one rural area, we're going around to different places, because we do believe help is needed everywhere, and Mandela was an icon for everyone, not just a certain place. And the other one we do, we try to raise funds for sports kits, giving out to the rural areas as well. And now the one we're also busy with continuously is coding and robotics in the rural areas as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, obviously, if about 16,000 schools in South Africa do not have computers, the rural areas obviously will benefit last. And we're looking at being the generation or the people that want to say, let us do the hardest work, is going to the rural areas where they always seem to last, you know. We got to follow our name, Kanda Kanda, and it paves the way.
Yes,
it paves the hardest way, you know, bulldozers. So we're going down to the deepest place, and we're saying those kids, those children are not going to be left behind. So we're rolling out unplugged coding, which is a project from Tangible Africa that we've partnered with. We got trained, and then we're rolling it out into the rural schools. So that's what we're doing. We're a few of us, 4 or 5, but we make sure we right now we've impacted like 16 schools that we keep on going to, teaching different grades, and so that's what we're doing. And lastly, the other one we're busy with is also school shoes. This year we've been delivering like 50 pairs of school shoes to a rural school, and we've done like over 7 schools, and we're hoping, we started it after July, and we're hoping that next year we can still try and get more to continue, because when we looked at school, we focused on the primary children. But what broke my heart, when we went to the schools, there were like grade 8s and 9s and 10s that do not have school shoes. So that's what we've been busy basically doing it. And of course, the community now is looking at us for every other need now, you know, they're calling us and things. So I do believe we're a very active NPO, and we are dedicated and committed to the rural areas.
Now let's talk about getting the youth involved, because, you know, it's very important to involve them as well in these communities. How's that going?
That's very good. we love kids. I love kids, and the focus is on the youth. So what we are doing, we go to different schools and we let them know about NPOs, and they must come on board. Like on the medical outreach, we do get kids to come and usher and assist them to learn and to know and to see that in the future they can also do this. You understand? So yes, we've spoken to a couple of principals who say if we can have kids from each school to come and join us and see how we're doing, so they can also continue to get involved. Mthatha High School in Mthatha is on board with us as well. Port St. John's Junior School, High School, a number of schools are on board. So we are there to train the youth.
JC, thank you so much for taking this interview, and all the best. You guys are doing amazing work.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And unfortunately, that is how we wrap up the 17th annual ICT Summit right here in East London at the ICC. But for myself, Sinazo January, and the rest of the MVK crew, until next year.